Kristen Eupenlatz-Greck here of Pilates Collective with some home practice exercises for you. We're going to start with some breathing, pelvic tilting in 3 different directions, knee floats, and predicting the load. Okay? So you want to find a nice place to lie on the floor with a mat, something comfortable, even a blanket is fine. You're going to lay on your back. You want your head heavy, your shoulders heavy, and the back of your ribs nice and heavy so that the front of the rib cage can be softened. You want to make sure your body's in a nice straight line. You're going to look down and make sure your knees are in line with your hips. You want your pelvis in a neutral plane, hip bones and pubic bone on an even plane, or whatever feels best for you, don't force it. You want your feet in line with your knees and hips, pointing forward, arms to your sides. So we're going to start by breathing in through the back and side ribs like an accordion. You want to get a nice space in the back of the body, and then you're going to exhale through the mouth. So you can do this for a few minutes until it feels very comfortable and natural, and you start releasing into the back of the head and the shoulders and the rib cage. So you can stop the video and practice that breath pattern here. It's kind of boring to watch me do it. Once you've established a nice breath pattern, you feel relaxed, your shoulders are released, your head is heavy, your rib cage is heavy, your leg bones have dropped down into the sockets. We're going to do some pelvic tilting. Breathe in through the nose. On your exhale, you're going to flatten your back and engage your deep abdominals to tug your pelvis into a little tilt towards your mid-back. On your inhale, you're going to drop in the opposite direction, allowing your leg bones to drop heavy into the socket. You don't want to force the rib cage into the movement. You want to keep that nice and soft, but there will be some residual movement in your rib cage. Exhale, tilting toward your mid-back. Inhale, tilting towards your tail. This should feel really good, and we're trying to keep the booty and the legs out of it and try and use the deep muscles of the low belly and the lumbar spine, the low back, to create the movement. And do that a few times until it starts feeling a little bit more relaxed. And then we're going to do side to side tilting. So you're going to inhale through the nose, exhale, drop this side of the pelvis down, inhale back to center, and exhale the other side of the pelvis down. Trying to keep your knees in line, so you're not allowing your knees to rock side to side to get the movement. We just want, again, a little tug of the deep abdominals to do the movement. And if it feels difficult, that's where you want to go. You want to build something new. So very small is great. So inhaling through the nose, exhale, keep the hip bones in the same plane, in line. You don't want to hike one up towards your rib cage. And just do that until it starts feeling a little bit softer and more easeful. Exhale on the movement, inhale to center. Exhale on the movement, inhale to center. Now we're going to do the third pelvic movement, which is rotating sits bone toward opposite heel, like a rotation disc. It was on your sacrum. Inhale to center, and exhale in the opposite direction. Now your knees will move past one another. Inhale to center, and exhale, rotate, trying to drive the movement from the low, deep belly again. And think about both sides remaining long so that you're not pulling one hip up to create the movement, but lengthening through the opposite hip. And again, we're looking for the one that feels challenging. Try to really lengthen through that place that feels challenging. And what we're looking for ultimately is a very still pelvis, hip bones and pubic bone on an even plane, and hips even, and sits bones even away from your heels so that everything is in a nice even plane. Now we're going to try and challenge that stability by holding the deep abdominals and the lower back muscles in kind of a spine sandwich as we use the legs to lever and challenge that stability. So these are called knee floats. And this should be a small movement at first, and if it's really challenging and you've got a lot of movement in your pelvis, just float the foot off the ground, just barely, like somebody's putting a piece of paper under there, okay? So you're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, hold on to the stability in the pelvis, Exhale, stand into one leg, float the other leg up. You should be feeling the stability challenge through the whole torso, all the way up to the obliques, and inhale it down. Exhale, prepare for the movement, stabilizing the torso, float the leg up and down. Inhale, exhale, float the leg up. So it's not really a leg exercise, it's a stability exercise. The leg is just what we're using to challenge that stability. Do that a few more times. Inhale, stand into the leg. You want to make sure that the standing leg doesn't drop out or drop in, but stays stable. Make sure your shoulders don't work. Your head and shoulders and low ribs stay nice and heavy. Good. Now we're going to move on to predicting the load. At this point, because we're going to bring both legs up, we're going to press the low back down into the mat for stability. So you're going to use the upper obliques, press the rib cage points down toward the pelvis. You're going to exhale, float one leg up, and then even deeper, the other leg comes up. So this is a lot of work in the torso. And we're going to squeeze the legs together, and on the exhale, you're going to move the heels out away from you as if they were on a table. Just a very small distance, feeling the challenge in the deep abdominals. So what I'm trying to do is keep my pelvis still as I move my legs. The further I move my legs away from my center, the more deep abdominals, upper and lower, that I need. Try to keep the head heavy, the shoulders heavy, and activate those deep abdominals. Bring it back to center, float one leg down, and float the other leg down. If that's very challenging for you, just begin to move the feet away just the teeniest bit. You'll feel a lot of work in the abdominals. All right? So that's just a little bit of starting work for your home practice. Thanks for watching.